Shepherd, shepherd, where'd you leave your lambs? Shepherd, shepherd, where'd you leave your lambs?
Hello, I'm ecologist Dan Botkin, and I'm going to chat with you today about an ecology of Christmas. The practices involved in major holidays of modern Western civilization illustrate past deep connections people understood between themselves and nature. Christmas time, welcomed, celebrated, and enjoyed for centuries, has a long environmental history, an ecology of Christmas. The winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, has long been a time of human rituals with the idea and the hope that those rituals would guarantee that the days afterwards would get longer and warmer, and crops and domestic animals would do well. Perhaps without these rituals, the shortening days would continue until crops and domestic animals, and therefore human life, would cease on earth. For example, the ancient pagan Roman midwinter festivals called Saturnalia, birthday of the unconquered sun, honored the Roman god Saturn, and was held on December 25th, which the Romans did believe was the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. With the actual birth of Jesus Christ, the early Christians simply used the ancient pagan celebration to attach to Christ's birthday. The first recorded date of Christmas being celebrated by Christians on December 25th was in the 4th century AD, during the time of Constantine, the first Christian Roman emperor. Being able to forecast the exact days of winter and summer solstices, therefore, was important in many cultures. Getting the day wrong might mean a terrible year or the end of life on Earth. Among the most famous of these time markers is Stonehenge, the massive group of stone monuments located on a chalky plain north of the modern-day city of Salisbury, England, which I visited before it was very well known. Research shows Stonehenge was built roughly between 5,000 and 4,000 years ago. If you stand in just the right place inside Stonehenge Monument on the day of the northern summer solstice, the longest day of the year, facing northeast through the entrance towards a rough-hewn stone known as the heel stone, you will see the sun rise above that stone. This is one of many prehistoric human structures that align with either the summer or winter solstice, and therefore are a major marker for the change in seasons. Why the Christmas tree? An evergreen tree, like we use as Christmas trees, has traditionally been used to celebrate winter festivals, pagan and Christian, for thousands of years. Pagans used evergreen branches to decorate their homes during the winter solstice. It would seem that made them think of the spring to come. These and other evergreen trees symbolize the continuation of nature and its ability to produce crops and domestic animals. Also, perhaps, keeping evergreen trees alive and worshipped would ensure the continuation of life on Earth. The first documented use of a Christmas tree in a winter Christian Christmas celebration was in several locations in Northern Europe. One historian wrote that in 1584 there was a tradition in Riga, Latvia, of a decorated fir tree in the market square, where the young men, quote, went with a flock of maidens and women, first sang and danced there, and then set the tree afire, end quote. Once again, the ancient Christians adopted to Christ's birth the evergreen tree, symbolizing the shortest day of the year, and with the hope for a good year to follow. Hence the familiar city stands of evergreen firs, pines, hemlock, spruce, and so forth that pop up in time for Christmas, celebrated by us moderns. Why the gifts of the Magi, frankincense, gold, and myrrh? As the biblical story goes, the three wise men brought myrrh, frankincense, and gold. Gold was, of course, an obvious gift. Myrrh perfume was put on dead bodies to make them smell better. Frankincense was also prized for an alluring fragrance. It is a milky white resin extracted from boswellian trees. These thrive in arid, cool areas of the Arabian Peninsula, East Africa, and India. Some have interpreted these two gifts to mean that the three wise men knew that Jesus would suffer and die. From a modern ecological point of view, gifts of highly perfumed plant products show how closely the people of those times were connected with and familiar with nature that surrounded them. According to the Greek writer Herodotus, Egyptians used both frankincense and myrrh in the preparation of animal sacrifices and human mummies. Hebrews and Christians incorporated them into their ceremonies, at least from the 3rd century BC and at least lasting until the 4th century AD. In a time before daily bathing, people would use the sweet smoke from these resins to make themselves smell better. Also, Egyptian women used ashes of frankincense for personal use, mixing it into their eyeshadow. So what can we conclude from this ecology of Christmas? As I said earlier, the practices involved in major holidays of modern Western civilization illustrate past deep connections people understood between themselves and nature. But I add now that with the rise of the scientific industrial revolution, a very different, important, and powerful scientific understanding of nature developed. But the associated development of modern technologies have, ironically, a contrary effect, separating people from nature in daily life. We deeply understand scientifically how plants grow, the integration of plants and animals, and many other scientific aspects of nature. But we have lost some of the human connection with nature, and this has led us to some false beliefs, our own myths, but false ones, about nature and the connection between people and nature.